Part 59. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 606. This is probably the busiest night in the Potala Palace in recent years. The 5 superpowered spoons behind Lao Huidi gradually faded away from the light of superpowers. The pair of wise eyes that can see through the future opened again at this moment. He glanced sideways in the direction of the little natural bird. His face there was a little more relief. Gee. Gengui Liahe wants De Wang to open another super mirror. He is going to go to the new Daifang to eat some silly hippo chefs and then bring them back. On such a festive day. It's time to drink wedding wine. Standing at this end of the Potala Palace, watching Gengui Liahe eating a dumb hippopotamus chef on the other side of Zhangxiang City, Gengui Liahe patted his big belly, and then climbed out from inside the mirror. Yadong! Yadong! The hippopotamus chef stood still, like he was pulling out a carrot, as Gengar Liahe pulled the conch caps out of his mouth one by one. This scene is simply impossible to watch. Dai Dai and Dai Hippo chefs easily occupied the back kitchen of the Super Holy Land. Although the people cooking in the back kitchen were also super elves, but can it be compared with Dede? Cannot. However, with these super-powered elves who are also proficient in cooking, tables of wedding banquets were quickly set up in the Potala Palace. A banquet for all the monks and all the elves in the Potala Palace. Even the head abbot who had entered meditation opened his eyes again. The smell floating in the palace is really so fragrant. Can Buddha also jump over the wall? In short, this penultimate night of summer vacation in August is so interesting. Prayer. This is a healing move that Lariulas mastered after evolving into Gardevoir. Putting his hands together, his movements at this moment were like making a wish to the stars in the night sky. After a relatively long period of time, a healing energy slowly fell on Gardevoir from the sky. It was a bit like a spotlight, but the light is not dazzling. The healing effect began to slowly recover on Gardevoir's body. Brother, the color of Gardevoir's black skirt seems to be gradually fading. What's going on? Yang Xiao's eyes were full of surprise and he couldn't help but ask. Yang Yu said without thinking at this moment, it should be the healing power of Gardevoir himself. After all, Gardevoir is a super powerful and fairy-type elf. When the body has not fully recovered, it is the ghost-type power that takes the place of healing. As superpower, so the skirt will appear black. Ah! Xiao Yu, don't forget my salted fish king, he has a similar situation, Yang Yu smiled and whispered. Yang Xiao's eyes flashed with surprise and curiosity. She understood when brother Yang Yu explained it like this. Although the salted fish king's body usually looks blue, once he gets angry, his whole body will turn scarlet. I saw Yang Xiao when he was in the water system gym. Gee, Gengui, the white ghost gentleman, realized that something seemed a little wrong. The white color on his body seemed to gradually become a little bit gray over time. This bit of gray was just like ink dripping into pure water. The white Gengar gradually became gray, and finally, it stayed at purple-gray color. Gengar wanted to reach out to cover the ink dot on his white body at first, but he didn't expect that the ink dots would cover more and more, and the 2 hands would not be enough. Silly and cute. The simultaneous color changes of Gardevoir and Gengar are a bit like the gray-black ink stains on Gardevoir's dress returning to Gengar's body. This gradient form is even more magical. Wow! In this case, Gardevoir seems to have 2 noble long skirts. One is pure white, the other is pure black, so great, Yang Xiao's attention point is still so magical. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin looked at each other. Probably, this is how girls think. The first thing to pay attention to is the beautiful long skirt dress. This is the magic of the life contract. Little Reggie Locke watched it quietly, and couldn't help but sigh again in his heart. God also has feelings. God will also be moved. Little dream demon Antijopai looked at the Jengar that turned into purple-gray with great curiosity. They couldn't figure it out. How could the originally white Jengar turn into purple-gray? Is your body stained? Fortunately, Jengar himself doesn't particularly care about the color of his body, because the dress on Gardevoir is as pure as snow. Still so beautiful. Yang Yu looked at Jengar's appearance at this moment, and felt a little funny in his heart. After all, the white Jengar still looks much more handsome than the purple-gray Jengar. To be honest, this feeling is a bit like the skin in the game. It's like the trial period has expired. It's time to renew your super membership. Almost similar to Yang Yu's thoughts, Gengui Liahe looked at Yang Xiao's Gengui now, as if he had discovered a huge treasure. White Jengar. Why didn't he expect to develop a brand new skin system in the Ghost intranet? He designed it according to the style of this white Jengar, and designed intranet skin. Just imagine, if there is a video chat between ghosts on the intranet, then the ghost with white skin, will it look taller? The Ghost intranet is also a network. Who doesn't want to give others or other elves the impression that they are particularly awesome on the internet? Intranet skin is your best choice. Just in time, the Ghost Festival will be here in a few days. Gengui Liahe is wondering why he should cut a wave of leaks this year. After cutting once during the last Qingming festival, the leaks are probably growing now, and some may still grow. It's quite long. GGG. White ghost skin, this is very handsome, deadline skin. You also need to renew your intranet super membership to get it. It's not that I didn't think about getting a skin system at the beginning, but I just didn't have a suitable model. I couldn't let Gengui Liahe be a model by himself, right? Now, there is. The decision is yours. Gengui Liahe felt that he was almost shocked by his genius idea. He stretched out his hand and patted the little brother Gengui on the shoulder with a little force. What's interesting is that when Gengui Liahe patted it gently with his hand, the color of Yang Xiao's heterochromatic Gengui seemed to have become a little lighter. It felt like a stuffed toy that changes color when pinched. Poppy. The witty little dream demon Antijopai discovered this secret almost at the same time. The playful little guys excitedly poked Jengar's belly together. The place where the force was applied instantly turned white, and then turned back to purple-gray little by little. So fun. It turns out that only by being beaten can one turn white? Pokémon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 607. August 31st. It's the last day of summer vacation. The first ray of sunlight in the morning shone into the courtyard of the Padala Palace. Yang Xiao squinted her eyes. She felt that she had had a beautiful dream last night and she didn't even want to open her eyes. However, Yang Xiao still couldn't help but open his eyes, wanting to find his Lolulus. Yang Xiao had always slept with Larulus in his arms. Place a small pillow next to your pillow, so that when you wake up in the morning and open your eyes for the first time, you can see your Larulus. This morning, something was different. Sana. He was still lying next to Yang Xiao, but after evolving into Gardevoir, Larulus was now almost as tall as Yang Xiao. Ah! A burst of excited screams resounded throughout the courtyard. What's wrong? Xiao, are you okay? Yang Yu didn't even wear any slippers, so he hurriedly stepped on the floor and knocked on the door of Yang Xiao's room next door. In Wu Yuqian's room. The natural bird, who likes to sleep standing on clothes hangers, opened his eyes as if in a daze, his feet were empty, and he fell from the shelf to the ground with a clack. Nyonyo's body was like a squashed glutinous rice dumpling, her eyes were dizzy, and she felt like nothing was good. It hurts. Choo choo choo. What's wrong? What's wrong? Wu Yuqian got up and took a look. There seemed to be a piece of matcha dropped to the ground, and it was slightly deformed. Brother. It's okay. It's okay. I'm so excited. Gardevoir, AHH. It's really great. Yang Yu was stunned for a moment when he heard this. Under the sunshine in the yard, he found that Dada had gotten up early and was meditating in the early morning sunshine of the super holy land. Yang Yu thought for a while, Yang Xiao should be happily jumping around with Gardewar hugging each other in the room, reaching out to rub his sleepy eyes. Hey! Have no choice. Who let Xiao be his sister? But having said that, no matter who came to this elf world in the previous life, they would love Gardewar very much, right? After all, she is the queen. After a while, a grey dream monster floating out of Yang Yu's room, looking like a dark cloud, rubbing its eyes. He looked at Yang Yu with a blank expression. What happened? Yang Yu shrugged. It was nothing serious, it was just that Yang Xiao had not recovered for a while. Speaking of which, when the Salted Fish King evolved, and at the same time he met Dudu again, Yang Yu also relaxed for a long time, right? And the evolution of the little fish. The Light of Elves evolution is really beautiful. Especially the scene when your own elf evolves under careful cultivation is so wonderful. There is a sense of happiness filling my heart. Boom. Yang Yuzheng sighed slightly while bathing in the early morning sunshine. He only saw something green coming out of the closed wooden door of Wu Yuqian's room. It was as fast as a bullet and could not be seen clearly at all. Yang Yu only saw the clear hole on the wooden door. Yang Yu also vaguely saw that there seemed to be a blinking eye behind the hole in the wooden door. Okay, no need to guess, the culprit is Xiao Tianran. As early as when he was in Lao Hu's tree house, Yang Yu had already seen the awesomeness of this natural bird. It was simply an angry bird. The head is invincible. Yeah. Dada did not open his eyes while meditating, but he felt the little natural boy bumped out of the room during meditation, and his superpower slowly supported the naughty little boy. Choo choo choo. Wu Yuqian in the room, was almost stunned by the operation of this natural bird. Actually, did he smash through the wooden door directly? Gigi, this hole in the wooden door can't be fake, right? I didn't expect that this natural bird's head would be so strong. It's amazing. After Wu Yuqian finished marveling, he seemed to have thought of something and frowned. After thinking about it carefully, the situation seemed a little wrong. Natural bird, is a physical attack type elf? Do not lie to me. Yesterday, I saw the 12 natural birds in the super altar. They all used superpowers. Where were the physical attacks? Choo choo choo. This is the little natural bird showing itself in front of Wu Yuqian, just like showing its best side to the trainer. Elves like natural bird are different from other flying or superpowered elves. Sometimes, they tend to identify their masters at one glance. The natural bird, which is proficient in the power of sacrifice, also has the ability to predict the future. This is an innate ability of the natural bird. However, after the natural bird evolves into a natural bird, it will change from a lively character to a motionless one. For example, there are those natural birds that have been offering sacrifices standing on the super altar. The reason why Lao Huidi brought this unique little natural bird here was not only to meet Dede, but more importantly, because Lao Huidi also sensed the best destination for the little natural bird. This is opportunity. Sharp. When the little natural bird jumped back to Wu Yuqian's hand, Wu Yuqian found the bird very interesting, especially the moment they stood on his shoulder and looked at each other yesterday. Confirmed eyes. Very spiritual. This is the destiny that has its own destiny. Choo choo choo. The little natural bird jumped even more excitedly after being praised by Wu Yuqian. It wanted to show Wu Yuqian its more powerful strength. After a few seconds, Wu Yuqian raised his head and looked at the little natural bird with its head sunk directly into the ceiling. The scene suddenly went dark. Choo choo choo. The small natural finches embedded in the thick wooden pile ceiling screamed hurriedly. How does it feel? It seems like it can't move. In fact, even the eyes could not be seen, it was completely black. Isn't it? Most of this little natural bird's body was stuck in this thick ceiling, with only its fluttering feet struggling in the air. Eyes, of course, can't see anything. Wooyukin has never met such a silly little elf. Let's not talk about anything else, but this little natural bird can bring him a kind of silly happiness. No amount of money can buy this. Senior brother Jian, there is a hole in this door, and there is an extra hole in the ceiling. Here in the Potala Palace, do you want to pay for it? Yang Yu gestured subconsciously. Wooyukin. No matter how much it is, I, Wu, have money, a lot of money, and willfulness. Let's save the natural bird from the ceiling first. When the young monk serving tea and water in the Potala Palace saw the two holes in the door and the ceiling. Master. Something bad has happened. There are two big holes in the door and ceiling where the guests live. Wooyukin had to pay 6,000 elf coins as repair compensation for this. Repairing a spot costs 3,000 elf coins, which is a bit expensive. I'll pay 30,000, so I don't have to look for it. Let my natural bird drill 8 more holes. Yang Yu. Monk. Little monk master. Choo choo choo. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 608. Welcome to today's Hangzhou News at 6:30, let us pay attention to the latest news in recent days. The balance of students' summer vacation is insufficient. How is the homework situation? Let's see how the top students of Hangcheng Senior High School, who are about to enter their senior year, arrange their vacation time. Choosing the right elf partner in advance will provide greater help for the college entrance examination. The new season of Elf Gorgeous contest came to an end in Melongjiang province. The elf Beautiful Flower sent by Yanjing Elf University contestant Qin Kelly outperformed with its petal dance and won the crown. The Potala Palace in western Tibet was shocked to see beams of light and fireworks raining down. Tourists were amazed and praised one after another. A little girl said that it was like a wedding in a dream. The lights in the house are turned on. A familiar and stable breath came to my face. Ah! Jengar, you are too fat. If you just walk like this, you won't even be able to get in. This time when they returned home to Hangzhou, both Yang Yu and Yang Xiao felt crowded. In the past, when Ghost Stone had not evolved into Jengar, it was floating in the sky, at least it did not take up space on the ground. Not anymore. With Gengui standing like this, and Pang Pangda being dumbfounded, there is basically no room in the living room, because Gardwar, Yang Yu, and Yang Xiao also need room to move around. Dede has always been like this and has a normal body shape. Jengar is different, he is really fat. It's time to buy a house. Yang Yuxin felt something. The house rented here is mainly for Yang Xiao's study, so the rented house is relatively close to the school. This is more convenient. At least that's how it used to be. If it were still the same Larulus and Ghost Stone, it would be nice to live in this small house now. Although it is not big, it is very cozy. They will live there until Xiao graduates from high school. She will consider the house again when she goes to college. It's not too late. Plans still can't keep up with the changes. With Gardwar and Jengar, at least the house seems a bit small. Unless Jengar sits still and doesn't move, the house will be very crowded. What's more important is the traffic problem. After recovering his skirt, Gardwar can already use teleportation. However, he can still only take Yang Xiao with him. If he wants to add Jengar, too fat to carry. Yang Yu's current thinking is still very simple. Since he is going to buy a house, he should buy a bigger one. It is best that the villa is close to the sea, and he can also stock the salted fish king, de Mele, and little Bao Bao. The most important thing is that it needs to be big and close to the sea. As a result, Yang Yu felt that the small amount of money he had on him was not enough. After all the calculations, there are only more than 20 million elf coins. If you want your villa to be close to the sea, set a small goal first, earn 100 million. This goal is still very feasible. After working so hard for so long, it's finally time to earn some money. Brother, where are you going next and what are your plans? Can you tell me about it? Yang Xiao's eyes were filled with anticipation. She is still in high school, so it is naturally impossible for her to travel with brother Yang Yu, but now, she can listen to the plan. In this way, Yang Xiao can close her eyes and imagine herself traveling to various places in the elf world. It makes me happy just thinking about it. Next. Yang Yu sat down, thought for a moment, and said slowly, next, I will inform the principal of the school first. I should go to Meteor Forest to find Lao Huidi. Elf training, Yang Xiao guessed. Yeah. Elf training, Salty Fish King, Day, Big Beauty, Little Bayo Bayo, Little Dream Demon, Tijipai, Mini Dragon, and Little Reggie Locke who doesn't know whether to train will all stay in the Meteor Forest for a while. And, Lao Huidi seems to have noticed the Little Reggie Locke hidden under the silly hat. While Yang Yu nodded, he was not surprised that Lao Hu would find Little Reggie Locke. This secret, just like Yang Yu's to Yang Xiao, would not be concealed. Even if it was concealed, it would be of no use. Because with Lao Huidi's wisdom and intelligence, he would naturally discover the existence of Little Reggie Locke, so there was no need to hide it in front of Lao Huidi. Then what? Yang Xiao continued to ask. Then, let's challenge the water gym, which is senior sister Fang Lian's gym, Yang Yu said with a smile. I already had a rough idea of this plan when I started from the fire element gym. In the water element gym, Grandma Lin herself is the water element master. Before she retired, she taught at Hangcheng Elf University. Yang Yu should be considered Grandma Lin's disciple closed. Yang Yu also went through careful selection to challenge senior sister Fang Lian's water gym. Yang Yu has been to the Super Energy Gym, Ghost Gym, Fire Gym, and Water Gym. Yang Yu has been to these 4 gyms. As for the other gyms, Yang Yu has not been to them. His main elves, Salted Fish King, Day, Big Beauty, and Little Bayo Bayo, are all water elves, which also have attribute advantages in water gyms. Of course, Yang Yu has a bonus, and senior sister Fang Lian also has a bonus. The difference may be negligible. Brother, your current main elves are only 4. How can you beat Aunt Fang who has 6 gym level elves? Yang Xiao counted them one by one with his fingers. So, it is for this reason that I have to choose the water gym. Yang Yu took a deep breath. In terms of the continuous compatibility of the elves, at present, only the water gym gives me a slight chance of winning. Brother, then why are you in such a hurry to fight the elf gym? Now, brother, you are only in your sophomore year. Wow, a gym level trainer in your sophomore year. Disrespect, disrespect, Yang Xiao clasped his fists and bowed jokingly. Yang Yu also imitated Yang Xiao and raised his fists. Wow. A senior trainer in the 2nd year of high school, disrespectful, disrespectful. Where is it? Yang Xiao waved his hand, his tone full of momentum. Ha 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 ha. Yang Yu laughed heartily. It's the last day of summer vacation. Tomorrow Yang Xiao will start school, and at least it will be a long time before we can sit together and laugh as much as we do now. Let's give it a try. I don't know if I can beat it. Although the chance of winning is very small, I have to try after all. Yang Yu is now in a very good state of mind. Fighting against gym level elves is definitely not as easy as imagined. However, I will not belittle myself. Before the gym battle officially begins, all preparations must be made, just like Larula's condensed skirt this time. Make adequate preparations before the war. In the future, I may be planning to go abroad. I originally wanted to take you with me this summer vacation, but Larulas's matters are more important. Let's go when we have time in the future, Yang Yu said with a smile. Where are you going? Sakura Country. Mount Fuji. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 609. Before Yang Yu left, he planned to leave another batch of elf resources for Yang Xiao, but this time Yang Xiao did not accept all of them, but only a small part of the startup resources. Now, the elves in the family are not the original Lalulas and Gaisai. At that time, the elves could only rely on the elf resources provided by Yang Yu to grow. My lord, times have changed. Brother, just leave me 3 days of energy cubes. Our Gengui is going to the ghost tower to make money to support the family. Yang Xiao doesn't know when his salary will be paid, but Gengui Laohe can still provide food for free. Wrapped. How do you go and get Jengar back? You are not allowed to bring computers in high school. From Monday to Friday, you can only bring a mobile phone at most, and you can't use it in class, Yang Yu asked with a smile. Yang Xiao wanted to share some of the pressure on this family. He didn't have the ability before, but now, with Gardevoir and Jengar, he can help a lot. You don't have to worry about this. I have my own way. When Yang Xiao talked about this, his head tilted up. So proud. Yang Yu was a little amused. If you have any ideas, can you tell me? Brother, I'm going to run for election this semester and be a health committee member. Our class's health responsibility area is in the multimedia room. When the time comes, we will use the computer in the school's multimedia room to pick up and drop off Gengui. Yang Xiao felt that this time, he was unparalleled in wit. Gengui Laohe, as long as there is a network, ghost elves can go anywhere. It is just a matter of time. So, this is the best way that Yang Xiao thought of. Yang Yu. Awesome, my sister. You can think of all this, but if you were accidentally seen by others in school, wouldn't it feel like filming a horror movie? Midnight Bell. Yang Yu could only remain silent for a moment, and finally said 4 words. Be safe. Lao Wen is training so hard now. In addition to catching new elves during the summer vacation, he is training. During the beginning of the sophomore year, he is going to the South China Sea for training. Is it to see if he can evolve the Kami turtle into a water arrow turtle? Hong Kong, I'll go. Hong Kong actually went to the Fire Element gym during the summer vacation. He just went in early July and didn't have enough time. Otherwise, we could have met at the Fire Element gym. By the way, Hong Kong is also a high-level trainer now. Gao Mao, this little chubby boy, I don't know where he is now, but if he stays in the military camp this year, he will definitely gain a lot of experience in fighting elves. Yang Yu scrolled through the 403 messages in WeChat these days. In the past few days in Tibet, his phone had not been touched much. However, everyone seems to be very concerned about August 31st and September 1st. Basically, some messages are sent out on these 2 days. Lao Wen sent it at 2 o'clock in the morning, and Kun sent it at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm starting to, preparing for special training. After Yang Yu replied a message, he put his phone away. We've arrived at the station and it's time to get off the light rail. This familiar meteor forest, after coming off the light rail, is similar to the first time Yang Yu came to Meteor Forest, except that the current Meteor Forest. I know it. How come there are so many people? Yang Yu was stunned. There seemed to be a lot of people around the Meteor Forest, and there were groups of trainers carrying backpacks. Some of them were holding flags with the names of universities written on them. What happened? Has Meteor Forest become so popular now? Brother, what's going on here? Why are there suddenly so many people today? Is there some kind of activity or competition? Yang Yu went up and asked a random person. You do not know. The voice was obviously elongated, and there was a pair of extremely surprised eyes. Looking at Yang Yu was like looking at an alien, which made Yang Yu feel numb. You don't know why you came to Meteor Forest. Wang Peng felt that he had met a strange person. No. The village just opened an internet cafe? Yang Yu shook his head. He really didn't know what these people were waiting for in the Meteor Forest. This had never happened before. Even if there were more people, they wouldn't be as densely packed as now. I really do not know. Wang Peng shook his head, but still explained, you can search it yourself on your mobile phone. Meteor Forest will slowly evolve into a secret realm in the next few years. I don't know why. Anyway, here in Jiangdong Province the Elf Alliance has such an announcement. Meteor Forest, Elf Secret Realm. Yang Yu was stunned for a while, and the reason suddenly came to his mind. At that time, when Lao Huidi super evolved, the super powerful meteor waterfall affected the entire meteor forest, and at the same time it brought great vitality. No wonder. Wang Peng saw that Yang Yu had been stunned for so long, and it seemed that he didn't often understand the movements of the Elf Alliance. Although there seemed to be a black elf on his head, no matter what, the meteor forest was going to evolve into an elf secret realm. For trainers, say, this is a top priority. Now we just want to go in to capture the elves, but the time to enter has not yet come. Look, it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. A group of trainers have already entered the forest in the morning. Oops, it's so annoying. I came a little late. We have to wait until the afternoon. Wang Peng wiped his sweat and said quickly. The secret realm here in the meteor forest is slowly forming, so many trainers want to capture the elves in the meteor forest before the secret realm is completely formed and before they can enter. Whether the elves are kept by themselves or traded through alliance channels, they are all elves in the secret realm, and they are very dignified. Are you alone? It's best not to enter the meteor forest alone. You see, there are basically teams of more than a dozen people here. Capturing wild elves may cause competition among each other. You can't capture a group of them by yourself. People. Yang Yu nodded. Now that people from the Elf Alliance are controlling it, the situation is much better than before. But in the final analysis, some of the trainers who came here after hearing the news do not really want to cultivate those caught in the meteor forest. Elf, just because of the word secret realm. Trainers would be jealous of the resources in domestic elf secret realms, but with the Elf Alliance firmly controlling them, only the best among the trainers could obtain elf resources from the best secret realms. Just like Yang Yu, the national competition champion. Thanks, man, I'm waiting for someone. The entire meteor forest is secretly controlled by Lao Hu. If a trainer breaks the rules, he will naturally be taught how to behave. Yang Yu was not worried. What Yang Yu has to wait for now is naturally senior brother Wu Yuqian. Arranged for training in Meteor Forest, Wu Yuqian wanted to go back to the prairie first and pick up Kentaro. After all, Meteor Forest is still Kentaro's other home. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Let's come back and have a look. At the same time, there is another reason. It's to meet the parents. Hold head high. A penetrating high-pitched bird song sounded in the sky. Who's coming? Is there an expert here? The voice of this Baidio is very unusual. Everyone outside the meteor forest looked up. The eagle in the sky spreads its huge wings and soars majestically. Behind Baidiao, there is a person and a yellow elf sitting. Who is it if it's not Wu Yuqian? Junior brother Han. Senior brother Jian is here. Choo choo choo. All I could see was a small, green matcha ball stuck in the head of bicarved velvet. Start jumping up and down with excitement. Go home. Call for great beauty and ask for monthly votes. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 610. Chapter 610. I celebrate the new year with the elf. After a month, many outstanding trainers' wishes and expectations for their own new year with their elves appeared in the book review area. After the selection, the author Love Musketeer announced the list of winners as follows. Selection method, quality of book reviews, text, pictures, likes from book friends and comments from book friends. The data as of the deadline of January 31st shall prevail. 1 Kirby 2-meter large pillow. Starting point ID, Mengfeng Reincarnation Butler 17 likes. 1 Kirby 1.5-meter large pillow. Starting point ID, Mewtwo Shido Butler 16 likes. Manus 2 people. Starting point ID, Brother Ruron Disciple 13 likes. Bookstore ID, Gold, Silver, and Bronze Shield Disciple 13 likes. 2 Jigglypuff dolls. Starting point ID, Daruro Loves Jianwu. Starting point ID, Dowdy Eclipse 11 likes. 5 Sand Sculpture Carp King hats. Starting point ID, Cold Personality, Fish-Eyed Hall Master 9 likes. Starting point ID, Shanshui Xiaoyi Disciple 8 likes. Starting point ID, Fever Cat Disciple 8 likes. Bookstore ID, R is alive. Bookstore ID, Li Xiaobai. 2 Kodak 60 cm dolls. Starting point ID, Hashi Climber Disciple 7 likes. Starting point ID, Floating into the Sea Disciple 6 likes. 5 Pokemon Power Banks. Starting point ID, Paradise Cup Crispy Butler 5 likes. Starting point ID, Move around. Once the ghost knife is opened, the disciple cannot be seen. 5 likes. Starting point ID, Finn's Disciple 5 likes. Bookstore ID, Nethermoon Butler 5 likes. Bookstore ID, Jiirishi Disciple 5 likes. 10 Pokemon pendants. The following are all 4 likes. ID, Tuts JL. ID, Ming Maple Leaf. ID, Yitangan. ID, Scholars Aspire to the Tao. ID, Xiaoao. ID, Drunken Huanglong. ID, Penguin Go. ID, Polymer Gourmet. ID, Wei Z1. ID, Mzombie Qingfeng. Note, due to recent express delivery issues, all rewards will be distributed starting from February 9. The right to interpret the activity belongs to the author. Come on, oh. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 611. Why are there so many people here? Oh, by the way, Meteor Forest is going to become a secret realm. Wu Yuqian got off by Diao's back and was confused for a moment, then quickly understood. Little Tweet. This is the name Wu Yuqian gave to the natural bird. This little elf is really interesting and jumping around. Wu Yuqian's grandparents at home in the prairie especially like it. It is very spiritual at first sight. It is said that this natural bird is a gift from the Changsheng heaven and the prairie. Once it jumps into the sky and then falls down, Wu Yuqian will definitely not be able to find it. Just like hide and seek, after hiding in the grass, the color of the grass will be well preserved, unless the natural bird chirps chirp chirp. Now the crowd is almost entering the forest, let's follow them in. Yang Yu stood on tiptoe and watched for a while. Go directly to Meteor Lake later? Little Juju, come here, I'm going to collect Bai Diao, Wu Yuqian asked while holding the elf ball. Choo choo choo. Nestled in the warm and fluffy feathers on Bai Diao's head, this little natural bird seemed to have found an extremely comfortable nest. After hearing Wu Yuqian's words, it jumped down and then jumped steadily on Wu Yuqian's left shoulder. The little dream demon who was sleeping on Yang Yu's hair woke up, lowered his head, rubbed his sleepy eyes, and happened to see the little natural bird on Wu Yuqian's shoulder. He hooked his hand and provoked. Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian are about the same height. Little Dream Demon is on top of Yang Yu's head, so naturally he is taller than Little Juju. At this moment, the Little Juju puffed up with air, and the matcha expanded greatly. Choo choo choo. He jumped to the top of Wu Yuqian's head. Now, it's the same height? Yang Yu looked at the movements of this little natural bird and actually laughed out loud, especially when senior brother Jian was like this. He wears a green and waxy matcha cap on his head. Senior brother Jian, a peerless hunk. Okay, don't laugh at the same time. You are always wearing a little dream demon on your head. Wu Yuqian rolled his eyes. He was still very happy that he could have a little pendant like Xiajuju. Satisfied. When little Juju is tired, he will sit down and become a limp glutinous rice dumpling. If you are energetic, standing, with sharp eyes, you feel like an eagle. Quite interesting. Yang Yu, where is your Tijipai? Wu Yuqian checked around and found that something seemed to be missing. Yang Yu turned around and patted the bag hanging on his body. Here, taking a nap. At noon, if you hold Tijipai with your hands, you will easily sweat. If there is stickiness on the eggshell, it will be uncomfortable to hold him. It just so happens that a man's pockets cannot but be bulging. With Tijipai here, Yang Yu won't worry. Poppy. Hearing the little dream monster's gentle cry, Tijipai woke up and climbed out of Yang Yu's pocket. How can this be done? However, Tijipai finally ended up in Yang Yu's hands. Enter the meteor forest. Yang Yu, it's a pity that I didn't have the chance to play against you during the national competition. This time you asked me to come to meteor forest for training, so we have to have a few good elven battles. Wu Yuqian grinned. After entering the forest, his expression changed. Gotta be a lot more serious. Of course Yang Yu would agree, which was one of the reasons why he thought of asking senior brother Jian to come. They have not had the chance to play an elf battle in the National Elite Tournament and the World Masters Tournament. This time, Yang Yu wanted to have such conditions in the training camp. While competing, improve the elves' fighting skills. Wu Yuqian's elves, whether they are Baidiao, Giant Pincer Mantis, or Geranium, are all elves that can perform extremely incredible microcontrol in the battle. Their attacks are more flexible and their moves are more treacherous, rather than like Xian. Fish King is like this, any move is very rough. It's not that being rough is bad, but what Yang Yu is planning to challenge is senior sister Fang Lian, the water gym leader who has far more experience in fighting than Yang Yu. The water system uses softness to overcome hardness. At the level of the gym level elf, the Salted Fish King wanted to use his most proud salted fish thrust, but it was obvious that his opponent would not give him this chance. If the Salted Fish King directly used 100,000 volts, Yang Yu didn't want to use this killer move too early. He had to hide the move and use it at the most critical moment. Even if senior sister Fang Lian knew that Yang Yu's Salted Fish King had 100,000 volts, it didn't matter. Yang Yu instead wanted senior sister Fang Lian to focus on the Salted Fish King's 100,000 volts. Moo. Wu Yuqian summoned Kentaro. He hasn't been back to the meteor forest for more than half a year, and the leader of Kentaro doesn't know how his former brothers are doing or whether they have elected a new leader. Regardless of whether there is a new leader or not, we have to talk about the past first. Yang Yu, Kentaro can't wait any longer. Then I will accompany Kentaro to find the Kentaro group in Meteor Forest. See you at Meteor Lake. Wu Yuqian had to have other plans here. No problem, come to think of it, my Salted Fish King can't wait too. Yang Yu grinned and tossed the Salted Fish King's elf ball playfully in his hand. In the Meteor Forest, there is a group of salted fish waiting for him. Wang and the little violent carp kings. Brother Jian, see you at Meteor Lake. The elf ball shines brightly. Roar. Carp kings of Meteor Lake, your king, is back. This, what is happening, what is this sound? Is there an earthquake? Something exploded. Oh my god, there won't be an earthquake in Meteor Forest, right. Quick, look. What's running there, and it's kicking up a burst of dust. Oh my god, it's the Kentaro group. The salted fish king roared, and the entire meteor forest seemed to wake up from its rest in an instant. Even Zizzy seemed to have lost his voice. The long-tailed monsters hanging zzz by their tails on some branches were so frightened that they fell down one by one. And his head fell directly to the ground. Earthquake! Earthquake! Wait, this roar. Very familiar, right? Squeak! Squeak! Assemble and go to Meteor Lake. In the center of Meteor Lake are tributaries that spread out in all directions. Some water elves hurriedly carried trainers through the river. Hurry, we are about to reach the other side. Once there may be better elves to catch. Everyone, hurry up. When the trainers heard this exciting voice, their breathing quickened. The deeper you go into the forest, the more likely you are to find rare elves, this is common sense. For rare elves? Come on, damn. This group of trainers suddenly felt an uncontrollable force, as if it appeared directly from the water, knocking them and their water elves over. Just before they fell into the water. Saw a neat row of red. Cluck K. Cluck K. Magi-Carp team, charge. The king is back. Hurry up and rush. This group of trainers looked confused and quickly hugged their water elves in the water. They looked at the group of Magi-Carp that were leaving, fearing that the air would suddenly become quiet. Us. Knocked over by a group of Magi-Carp? Riverbank. The trainer who was resting here suddenly felt a voice shouting help coming from the forest behind him, and at the same time there was a rush of squeaking. Something bad is happening. Have these idiots angered the long-tailed monsters in the meteor forest? Help. I was wrong. I will never act like a monkey again. Plop. 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 The trainers on the river bank looked at the group of long-tailed monsters filling the forest, and were so frightened that they jumped into the water one by one. They were shot even while lying down. Why do these idiots want to lead them to their side? But then something went wrong. More and more long-tailed monsters jumped into the water. The Carp King in the water has been waiting for a long time. When the long-tailed monsters stood up one by one on the Magi-Carp partner, they headed upstream, and headed forward. I have no intention of paying attention to these people. A long time. It's finally calm here on this side of the river. It turns out, they are not here to hunt us. A faint voice sounded, and the frightened trainer quickly breathed a sigh of relief. Then why are you running? Didn't you run away too? I saw you turned around and ran so fast, so of course I ran along with you. Idiot. If you hadn't been there shouting for help, why would we have followed you? You are the idiot. Your whole family is. Come on, let's fight the elves, your mother won't even recognize you. Come, just come. Whoever is afraid of whom, whoever loses will have a grandson. Roar. Meteor Lake, giant blue shadow, falling from the sky. Asking for a monthly ticket. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 612. In the clear sky, under the dazzling sunshine, the huge body of Salted Fish King reflected a huge, glittering shadow on the sparkling surface of Meteor Lake. The body of the Salted Fish King was frozen in the air. At this moment, it was like a blue atomic bomb. Start free fall. Boom. This is how the Salted Fish King says hello. Water splashes. This is a move that King Carp was born with and engraved in his bones. Perhaps, if they had not met King Salted Fish, these King Carp in the meteor forest might have splashed aimlessly in the water all their lives. Now. Cluck K. Cluck K. The entire meteor lake boiled instantly. Whether it is the original fish in this meteor lake, the alien carp from other river basins, or the new carp in the lake, They all feel an uncontrollable force in their bodies, full of excitement. There was only one thought in my mind for a moment. Just use the maximum amount of strength to complete the water splash jump. After all, this is the home court of Salted Fish King. At the edge of the tree house, Yang Yu sighed while shaking hands with the leader of the long-tailed monster next to him. Haven't seen you for a long time. Ah, he put his hands on his stomach gently with a silly smile on his face, and nodded his big head, agreeing very much with what Yang Yu said. This is Xiangxian's home field. It's also the home ground of Dede. Hey, the little dream demon also wanted to find the ghost army, but when he turned around, it's densely packed with monkeys. The forest behind is full of long-tailed monsters, and there are no shadows of ghost elves anywhere. It's broad daylight and it's still so hot that the ghost doesn't want to come out. Poppy. A long-tailed strange hand even handed Tijipai a tree fruit, which made Tijipai very happy. Little dream demon sister, come down and eat together. The little dream monster, who was a little sad, felt a little comfort in her heart. It was better to be Tijipai. Me. 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 The mini dragon's eyes were staring straight at the fruit in Tijipai's hand, and he seemed to be thinking about what would happen if he snatched the fruit and ate it. In the past, the mini dragon would have definitely jumped up to grab the fruit and eat it. Now, the mini dragon's greedy attribute has not changed, but it also knows that it is wrong to snatch the fruit from children. However, I still want to grab it and eat it. Suddenly, the mini dragon's whole body began to tremble because it saw the little dream monster floating next to Tijipai, and electric light began to dance on its fingertips. For the sake of your own tail, if you don't want to eat it, don't eat it. I just want to see why you are so fierce. Suck. The mini dragon tried its best to lean against Yang Yu's legs. Although it wanted to shrink back and not look at the fruit in Tijipai's hand, it just couldn't control itself. It kept probing its head, and then probing again. Poke your head. See if the little dream monster is still staring at it, see if the fruit is still there. Boom 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 boom. At the other end of the meteor forest, there was a deafening rushing sound, which seemed to match the sound of water splashing in the lake. At the same time, huge dust was raised in the forest. If you didn't know what happened, you would have thought it was a sandstorm caused by an earthquake. Hey, senior brother Qian is here. Yang Yu's eyes lit up. Yeah. Yang Yu was the same as Dede. At that time, Yang Yu had experienced the violent experience of Xia had done in Three Kingdoms on Kentaro's back. It took him lying on the bed for several days to recover a little. Only the Kentaro group can produce such an aura like thunder. The frightened deer is no good, it has no such deterrent effect. At this moment, the Kentaro group appeared. The leader is still the leader of Kentaro that brother Qian effortlessly captured in the meteor forest with the beautiful cow. Hold head high. Wu Yuqian sat on Bai Diao's back and fell from the sky. He didn't dare to ride Kentaro anymore in the forest. The feeling when he got on Kentaro's back and his waist was almost broken was unforgettable to Wu Yuqian. Whoever rides Kentaro in the forest again is a dog. Senior brother Qian, Kentaro is still so powerful, and his skills in running in the forest are still intact. Yang Yu couldn't help but praise him. Wu Yuqian waved his hand, smiled and scolded, "These cows have turned our Male sheep into the most jumping sheep in the entire grassland, but the grassland power plant likes such lively animals. Benefit the sheep. There is a real fragrance in the air. Choo choo choo." The little natural sparrow first jumped from the head of Bai Diao to its wings, then lightly jumped from the wings to the ground, and then jumped up to the tree house. It looked like it was calling to the Bai Diao statue to come and play in the tree house together. Play. Bai Diao spread his wings and wiped the sweat from his forehead. How does this work? It's jumping up and down, and it won't do anything stupid like applying. Back then, he was bouncing around, but now he's just walking, walking. In the meteor forest, Wu Yuqian didn't need to use the poke ball to put away Bai Diao. The space here was huge and the environment was excellent. Flying elves like Bai Diao needed this vast blue sky to fly freely. So, this is where Super Hu De lives. Wu Yuqian looked up at the direction of the tree house, and the corners of his mouth twitched subconsciously. Yang Yu was a little surprised. Senior brother Qian, how did you figure this out? There are many holes in the tree house, some have been repaired with wood, and some have not. These holes should be caused by the little Jeju hitting his head, right? Wu Yuqian's doubts in his heart finally became clear. That about the whole country the real secret in the forest team competition. Yang Yu, you just activated an invincible trick. There are powerful people like Super Hu De here. Dede seems to be a super disciple of Super Hu De, and these carp kings who are next to the salted fish king in the lake, in this forest, they are simply Yang Yu's queens. Garden. No wonder Wu Yuqian felt at that time that Yang Yu was cheating in the meteor forest. In the 4 years since he participated in the national competition, he had never seen such an invincible freshman trainer. Who can resist this? Yang Yu subconsciously reached out and touched his nose. He didn't expect senior brother Qian to make such a judgment. It was quite interesting. Everything is clear, everything is revealed. Junior brother Han, to be honest, I'm a little itchy right now. I want to have an elf battle with you. Wu Yuqian raised his eyebrows. He has now graduated from Elf University. He will participate in the national competition in the future. Nope. Let's make up for the regret of not being able to compete with junior brother Han in the national competition now. Senior brother Qian, come on. Yang Yu clenched the elf ball in his hand, that he had been waiting for a long time. At this moment, it seems like I have returned to the finals of the national competition forest team competition to compete for the scorecard. Come out. Great beauty. Yi. Pokemon's character master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 613. The elf ball shines brightly, and in the mid-air in front of you, a golden moon is rising. The beautiful figure that formed a ring was extremely elegant. At this moment, the pink hair like fins were connected to the fan-shaped tail, suspended in the air like a beautiful totem without any modification. Roar. In the meteor lake, the salted fish king saw that De Mali was going to fight Wu Yuqian's elf. He was happy at first, but then became nervous, and immediately asked the carp kings around him to move back. There's going to be a fight. Didn't you see that there was going to be a fight? If you look at it from the front, the aftermath of the collision of the elf's battle moves will be enough for you to drink. The salty fish king gave the order, and little Bayo Bayo and the native Gyarados in Meteor Lake quickly and orderly arranged for the Magi Carp Kings to vacate a piece of ground. Cluck K. Ka. Magikarp's glazed eyes grew glazed even further. They have never seen such a beautiful elf. Go to the giant pincer mantis. Wu Yuqian and Yang Yu spontaneously distanced themselves from each other. Wu Yuqian seemed to have a fairy ball jumping out of thin air. When it fell, he caught it firmly in his hand. This operation made Yang Yu's eyes light up, a bit like a fire boy. Wang Li slapped the yo-yo on his waist, although it had no actual deterrent effect. But handsome. Of course, it's best to have a super elf to help you, otherwise it's easy to get lost. Check. The crimson armor worn by the giant pincer mantis was extremely bright under the sunlight at this moment. The silver wings on its back shone with a cold light. The coldness of steel gave the giant pincer mantis an extremely calm gaze. The beautiful girl put away her usual gentle gaze, raised her eyebrows diagonally, and gained a heroic aura. Her charming body was noble and cool. The battle is about to begin. Great beauty, dance of dragons. Bullet punch, attack. In such a battle between elves where the power gap is not big, any improvement in ability level can establish a quite obvious advantage. Both Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian understand this truth. Bullet punch, as the name suggests, the punch is as fast as a bullet. Because he knew how terrifying the speed of Yang Yumatinas's dragon dance was, Wu Yuqian would never give Yang Yu any chance, at least in the battle with his elves. De Mali successfully performed the dragon dance. Dance. Da-da-da-da, hit. The moment the giant pincer mantis punched, the sound of breaking through the air suddenly exploded. The air in this punch that was punched out as quickly as a bullet caused an extremely terrifying sound of air explosion. What was more terrifying than the air explosion was this punch. The speed is faster than sound. I only saw the extreme speed of the giant pincer mantis with a flash of lightning, and it suddenly approached Minos's body from where it was. And Minos was not Yang Yu's salted fish king. Minos's whole body, only its tail had extremely tough strength. Scale protection. It seems that there is only a phantom left in the venue, as a certain saying goes. UI. Whether it's the speed at which the giant pincer mantis attacks or the speed at which it flashes closer, it's terrifyingly exceeding the speed of sound. Yi. The bullet punch hit Minos' body directly without any surprise, triggering the giant pincer mantis characteristic at the same time. Technical expert. It can once again increase the power of bullet punches by nearly half. Although this punch is a steel-type move, it will only cause half damage to the water-type Minos, but it is to use this punch speed that exceeds the speed of sound, to interrupt the continuation of Minos's dragon dance. Time. Minos was punched in the body. Due to this smooth body and the strength of the steel system, it was completely restrained by the softness. In fact, the damage caused was much lower than expected. Mastery. After the giant pincer mantis punched this punch, he immediately felt something was wrong. Like hit a ball of smooth rubber. The soft force can directly remove the force of the bullet punch almost completely. This is the enchanting body that the elves of the race of Minos are proud of. Even the bullet punch with the blessing of the technical master characteristic cannot threaten the beauty. Nas every penny. Sure enough, although there are few records related to Minos, this soft body is a talent given to Minos by the elven world. Wu Yuqian's heart moved, and he seemed to punch the giant mantis with a bullet, and there is no effect without adequate mental preparation. This is the first time Wu's wealthy elf has fought against Minos, so he must be cautious. In this case, any impatient thoughts may turn the original balance of power into a disadvantage, or even make the situation worse. Great beauty, the waves of water. Yang Yu has already seen the extraordinary speed of the giant pincer mantis, so he has no intention of letting De Mali use single target moves like water guns. Unless it is a high-pressure water cannon, only the speed of the move is faster than the reaction speed of the giant pincer mantis. Only then can you have a chance to hit the giant pincer mantis. The best way is to AO, E up. Wait, bridge bean sack. Great beauty, is she going up to face the front? Isn't it the water fluctuation that was promised? Yang Yu himself was startled, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. In fact, this was the first time the elf battle was officially played by De Mali. Could it be that there was something wrong with the way Yang Yu started the elf battle? Minos is a physical attack type elf. Wu Yuqian frowned for a moment and refused to relax even for a second. The Chinese Elf Alliance's information on Minos is quite scarce. If it weren't for the man on the iceberg who owned a Minos, the Chinese Elf Alliance might not have its own information on Minos now. Not to mention China, the number of trainers with Minos in the entire world is very rare. This is also the reason why Wu Yuqian reminded Yang Yu not to summon Minos when he was on the world's center island, as it would easily make people jealous. Because of this, Wu Yuqian was not very sure about the information about Minos, because in the elf world, there are always some weird elves. Yang Yu's salted fish king is all about pearls and jade in front. The special attack type Gyarados is so big. This is so deceptive that when anyone sees it, they will think it is a violent physical attack type elf. But the reality is slap in the face. 100,000 volts is used in such a mouth, and the dragon's fury sprays out a Chinese Valentine's Day blackbird. Is this a physical attack? Therefore, Wu Yuqian didn't dare to make a conclusion in his heart, but looking at the posture of Minas, he really looked like he was facing a giant mantis. Face to face, who is the steel elf afraid of? Giant pincer mantis, sword dance. Yi. The speed of great beauty suddenly increased, like a flash of lightning. Who says elves don't hold grudges? Just like women, the more beautiful a woman is, the more she holds a grudge. Before, de Male's attempt to perform the dragon dance was interrupted by the bullet punch of the giant pincer mantis. Now, it is not that easy for the giant pincer mantis to perform the sword dance. Treat his elf body with his elf way. Need a quick move? Fortunately, de Male also has a quick move. De Male's sudden attack made Wu Yuqian dumbfounded. This isn't that. Salty. The moment they saw this move, almost most of the carp kings around the salted fish king raised their heads and looked at their king. Including Gyarados Jr. and the other two Gyarados. Salted fish king. Salted fish. Salted fish. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiao. Chapter 614. Minas used his soft body to hit the iron pimple giant mantis with great elasticity. The sudden beautiful impact of this move not only confused Wu Yuqian, but also made Yang Yu scratch his hair. This is too strong. Yang Yu suddenly felt that the wave of water was really not as good as the beautiful impact move. The water-type moves did not absolutely restrain the giant pincer mantis like the fire-type moves, and the moves were a bit soft in comparison. It doesn't matter if the giant pincer mantis eats such a non-threatening move. As long as the sword dance is used, the physical attack power will be doubled by then, which is definitely not a good sign for Yang Yu. It is equivalent to sacrificing part of the physical strength in exchange for the opportunity to dance with the sword. Yang Yu knew that Wu Yuqian painted the giant pincer mantis with metal again and again in order to better enable the giant pincer mantis to reach the minimum standard of mega evolution as soon as possible. Paint. Not to mention the time and energy spent on the training of elves, the combat experience is definitely richer than that of Minas. It is just a wave of water. Unless it falls into chaos, it cannot interrupt the continuation of the sword dance. However, what Minas chose was not the wave of water, but the beautiful impact. Minas just wanted to let the giant pincer mantis experience the interruption of its sword dance, and he also wanted to use the speed that the giant pincer mantis was proud of to attack. Tit for tat. However, even Minas himself was not there, and the beautiful impact was accidentally used, but it became the best move to solve the sword dance trouble just now. It's a pity. Wu Yuqian really didn't expect that it was an excellent sword dance opportunity. According to Yang Yu's command, he had to take a wave of water to win the success of the sword dance. Wu Yuqian came to said it was worth it. But I never expected. The salted fish king's salted fish thrust, Minas can actually do it. Now, it will be difficult to find another opportunity to dance with swords. Yang Yu felt a little lucky in his heart. He saw senior brother Qian shaking his head and sighing, and he naturally understood in his heart that he, Yang Yu, was still a little less experienced in fighting elves. Anyway, with this experience, Yang Yu also felt wary. Beautiful impact, that's how the name of this move has been decided. The salted fish king's is called salted fish sting, and the big beautiful one is called beautiful impact, Yang Yu secretly decided in his heart. After all, the performers are different. If it were King Yan Wuo, he should be called Zhu Tu Mengjin. This time, de Male's impact did not directly confront the hard salted fish thrusts like the salted fish king in a complete sense. Instead, she relied on the soft ability of her body, through this elasticity, to use softness to restrain it. Giant pincer mantis. It was as elastic as rubber. After Yang Yu saw it, a name came to his mind for a moment. Luffy. Luffy, who ate the rubber fruit in one piece. Perhaps, during this period of time, Yang Yu has a new way of thinking about the special training for de Melee. Of course, you have to watch this elf battle first. Giant pincer mantis, cross scissors. Great beauty, swing it away, this time with the wave of water. The giant pincer mantis clicked and waved its hard pincers, trying to attack Minos. The wings on its back buzzed and made a harsh sound, making the surroundings seem to make noise. The giant pincer mantis, the power of the system was concentrated on the double pincers, and a swift attack was launched towards the tail of Minos. Yi. A circle of water waves like a protective layer instantly formed around Minos. This time, she obeyed Yang Yu's battle command. This circle of water waves slowly swaying towards the surroundings contained huge recoil power. When that force came into contact with the giant pincer mantis wielding its giant pincers, like a shock wave, the lightning speed of the giant pincer mantis seemed to be the most deadly place at this moment. Water itself is soft. When the water waves vibrate and come into contact with the body of the giant pincer mantis wants to split the waves of water, but finds. Without the cross scissors in the sword dance state, it would be impossible to break through the shock of the water wave. Boom! The collision of steel and water, the confrontation between insects and water, the energy that cracked and exploded in the center of the collision caused the body of the giant pincer mantis to fly backwards uncontrollably. Although it was water, at this moment, under the giant pincer mantis's double pincers on, but evaporates like steam. The speed of this instant splitting the water wave made the air around the pliers instantly hot. Zhyla. Yi. The energy generated by the fluctuations of water also counterattacks in the direction of great beauty, forming a protective layer of fluctuations around Minos itself, reducing the power of this shock wave to the extreme, and finally when it fell on Minos, it was even, almost unharmed. In this move showdown, Yang Yu and de Melee were slightly better. Water wave, the shock when the outermost moves collide, the inner layer of protection, both offense and defense, what a water wave, Wu Yuqian was secretly surprised. Although Yang Yu has much less combat experience than Wu Yuqian, Yang Yu's ideas in battle are definitely endless. A little bit of inspiration can make an inconspicuous move perform incredible things. Effect. It's like dancing. In order to train the Salted Fish King and the Great and Beautiful Dragon dance, Yang Yu actually set an example in the secret realm of the world's center island. At the same time, it aroused the resonance of Tajibi Legerok, which spread to the sea water, affecting the Roaring Whale King group, and finally, let the island sink. It has a good effect. Yang Yu couldn't help but take a step forward. The wave of water has a miraculous effect on opponents in close combat. Such a concussive wave is like the explosive energy in the Arcade King of Fighters in close combat. The power of this concussion can deflect the opponent's offensive, and at the same time, you can also use the aftermath to protect yourself. More importantly, water fluctuations can also cause chaos to the opponent's elves. Although the probability of this additional effect is very low, once it is triggered. Giant pincer mantis, chaos, Yang Yu couldn't help but feel a jump in his heart. At this moment, the giant pincer mantis fell heavily to the ground after being shaken by the fluctuations of the water. When it got up again, its originally calm eyes began to glow with an unnatural red light, and the extended pincers were faintly pointing towards the trend of attacking yourself. The additional effect of water wave, chaos, is in effect. This extremely low probability is because the giant pincer mantis attacks so fast that it is very close to Minos. It is at the moment when the water wave begins that the water wave is almost negligible. The probability of chaos is greatly increased. What kind of luck is this? Wu Yuqian's expression changed. The giant pincer mantis was in complete chaos. Chaos meant that it would attack him. The speed and physical attack capabilities that the giant pincer mantis is proud of have now become the biggest driving forces that hastened his defeat in the battle. Minas, take advantage of the moment and serve. Giant pincer mantis, hold on. Hold on to protect yourself from most moves. As long as the giant pincer mantis successfully uses this move and completely resists the serve, then there is still a chance. But the giant pincers of the giant mantis attacked him in a state of chaos. Yee. Beautiful impact. Water tail. Serve. The speed is faster than the salted fish king, and the charge is more ferocious than the salted fish king. The big beautiful blue fantail blooms like scarlet in an instant. Target, giant pincer mantis. Boom. Snapped. Wow. The high-spirited blue waves mercilessly photographed the giant mantis. Next one please. Keep asking for votes. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 615. The venue looks like water overflowing with golden mountains. When the aftermath of the surf slowly poured towards Meteor Lake, a figure of a giant mantis lying on the ground appeared under the sparkling water. Beautiful impact. Water tail. Serve. De Melee's 3-move combo left no chance for the giant pincer mantis and ended the battle cleanly. Luck is also a part of strength. Luck in the battle between elves is also a huge attraction. Surfing across the border was like a huge water barrier slowly being pulled across. The next moment, the scene immediately changed and swept across the Meteor Lake. In the Meteor Lake, where there was still the sound of splashing water, the Carp King seemed to be immobilized, motionless. The Salted Fish King and his friends were all shocked. That ferocious huge mouth seems to have been stretched a bit. If some special effects were added, I don't know if it could be pulled from the sky to the ground. In short, the Salted Fish King was dumbfounded. Turn out to be. She is so awesome. Then, the Salted Fish King took a deep breath. Calm down, why are you so surprised? Sit down, everyone, sit down, do nothing. Don't even look at who you learned these tricks from. Salted fish stabs. Did the Salted Fish King teach you that? Water tail. Was it also taught by the Salted Fish King? Serve. Or was it taught by him, the Salted Fish King? So what was the first trick the Salted Fish King used to teach great beauty? Sing. Yes, this is singing. Yang Yu taught the Salted Fish King to sing, but what he taught was noise, while the Salted Fish King taught De Mei, and what he taught was healing ringtones. From this, it can be seen that the Salted Fish King is the real trainer. The one from Yang Yu is fake and does not have a teacher qualification certificate. The Salted Fish King took a deep breath. Roar. Kids, what are you doing here? Hurry up and shout 666. The Carp Kings in the Meteor Lake woke up like a dream, and instantly sounded the sound of click, and the entire Meteor Lake became a cheers ocean. It seems that I still underestimated the move of Water Wave, however, luck is also a part of strength. It is not unfair to lose to Minas. Wu Yukin has a good attitude. In some elves battles, it's normal to beat your opponents through luck. Come back, Giant Pincer Mantis. Giant Pincer Mantis needs to continue to be cultivated well. Compared with Baidiao, its previous strength has fallen a lot, but now it has recovered a lot, which is already very good. If there were more elves, things would be like this. The elf resources and cultivation energy are not well arranged. Although some cultivation can be given to breeders for help, Wu Yukin is still willing to take care of it himself. Baidiao, it's your turn. Little Juju, get on top of me, Baidiao is going to fight an elf. Choo choo choo. The little natural bird squinted its eyes and raised its wings in the direction of Baidiao, cheering. Hold head high. Baidiao entered the battlefield. Under those rhythmically beating wings, the surrounding wind seemed to have changed. In Yang Yu's eyes, he could clearly see the path of a whooshing wind through a fallen leaf. Although it was still hot, this chilling wind condensed Wu Yuqian, a bird of prey, of supreme majesty. Bobo, although this type of elves are known as house birds, they are very common in the elf world, and some can even catch such elves at their doorsteps. Because it is common, most trainers are not particularly proficient in its cultivation. The strength of these trainers is only half-assed. However, in Wu Yuqian's eyes, precisely because of the popularity of Baidiao, he has the belief that he will cultivate his Baidiao to be the best Baidiao in the entire country of China and even the world. Ordinary, but extraordinary. Yang Yu knew very well that Wu Yuqian was more powerful than the other one. As early as during the trip to the World Masters, senior brother Qian's Baidiao had a thrilling experience facing the ocean bully, the Megalodon, and his explosive momentum was no longer at the level of an elite elf. Gym level. A gym level competition. In the entire Chinese Elf Alliance, there are only a few trainers with such extraordinary strength. Wu Yuqian is one of them. De Mali can withstand the power of the steel system, but I'm afraid she can't withstand the cutting of the hurricane. Yang Yu had a guess in his mind. If De Mali continues to deal with the iron-knotted elves like the giant pincer mantis, he can still rely on it. It has the advantage of being extremely elastic like rubber. The current opponent is Baidiao, a gym-level elf with exquisite flying skills and elite air slashing. The first air slash was blocked by De Mei's wave of water. However, the sharpness of the air slash was enough to cut through the defensive circle of the water wave. The second course. Air slash, the additional effect is triggered, putting the beauty into a brief state of flinching. This is the ability of gym-level elves to suppress elite-level elves. When an ordinary Bobo is trained to the extreme and evolves into the most dazzling one. Ordinary is extraordinary. Yan returns. Yi. In a cowering state, De Mali faced Baidiao's last move that almost flashed in front of her in an instant. Venue, water flow ring. The big and beautiful body flew out and landed heavily on the wet ground. She lost the ability to continue fighting, but she successfully performed the last move, leaving the water ring in the field, and the field. Go, Salted Fish King. Roar. The venue was given to the Salted Fish King. When the Salted Fish King soared into the sky from the meteor lake, the raptor swung its tail, and a string of carp kings flew up from the meteor lake, and the moment they landed on the battlefield of the elf battle, there was a softness and warmth soaked in the water. Wan's feeling surrounds the Salted Fish King. The Salted Fish King was slightly startled. It was the water ring left for King Salted Fish in the venue at the last moment when Great Beauty lost her fighting power. Yi. De Mali's remaining physical strength is not enough to support the next elf battle, but she can still cheer for the Salted Fish King. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Click, click, click. Click, click. Moo. No one lacks cheerleaders. The Salted Fish King on Yang Yu's side is supported by the Carp King army in Meteor Lake. Baidiao on Wu Yuqian's side is supported by the Kentaro group in Meteor Forest. Yang Yu's Salted Fish King De Mali is here to shout cheers. Wu rich people have small natural birds than Diao. Although the little natural bird is still a matcha bird or a glutinous rice dumpling, the effect of such a small cutie standing on tiptoes and shouting for cheers is quite good. Poppy. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Can you please pause for a moment and stop fighting now? The mini-dragon is hungry. The air suddenly condensed. In such a small battle space, how can you display your true combat power? Not as good as. Go to the sky and have a good fight? Roar. Hold head high. The two figures rushed towards the blue sky above Meteor Lake at a furious speed. Bai Diao's body transformed into a white light. In the white light, the red feathers flitting across the sky could still be vaguely seen. They were Bai Diao's bright red head feathers, and they were the most astonishing pride of the Bai Diao clan. The body of the salted fish king is like a blue beam of light. Under the sun, the crystal scales shine like a pair of indestructible dragon scales. There is a mark of a small fish on his body and a dull mark. It is the salted fish king. Proud. Using the land of the sky as the battlefield, fighting in the forest, this is the most memorable scene in the forest team competition of the national competition. Now, restored at this moment, the opponent has become Yang Yu's salted fish king, and Wu Yu, what a money show. The sharp eyes of the Bai Dao narrowed slightly, and a cold light flashed on the tip of the sharp beak. It had stronger wing muscles than the ordinary Bai Dao, and it flapped its wings vigorously. Every time it flapped, there will be more pressure from the wind in the city. Aura. This is the aura of the wind. The salted fish king's eyes were equally calm, and the faint aura of the water ring lingering around him made him very clear. Now, it's the battle between elves. Roar. The terrifying intimidation field, accompanied by a deep roar, rumbled rapidly in all directions, and the invisible pressure competed with the wind aura condensed around Bai Diao. The salted fish king raised his lips. I can do the wind. Face, hate. A violent cyclone suddenly swept around the body of the salted fish king. The spiral grew darker and darker, eventually forming a terrifying dark blue giant tornado. This powerful suction force even vaguely affected the meteor lake under the venue. In the meteor lake, each magi carp looked confused as if it had been rolled into the whirlpool of the meteor lake. The red king carp looked like a fish that had been thrown into a pot, and the entire meteor lake seemed to there was a huge spoon stirring in the middle of the lake, and everything began to spiral. Big bones, made into soup. Super barrier. In the tree house, the wooden door with many holes opened with a creak. Lao Hu yawned slowly. As soon as I woke up, I saw naughty little guys fighting in the sky. To Lao Huidi, salted fish king and Bai Diao were indeed little guys. The first spoon flashed behind him, and the meteor lake was finally not affected by the tornado in the sky, and the vortex began to slowly stop. All the magi carp seemed to have entered the meteor lake amusement park, all participating in a project called Carousel. Although they don't know how they joined in, it feels like it is fun. Cluck K. Can you do it again? When Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian saw the changes in the spiral vortex in Meteor Lake, they were both shocked. Although the two of them really wanted to have a good elf battle, this gym-level elf battle could no longer be held at any venue like before. The power of the move is extremely fierce. This tornado move. If the salted fish king were to perform it on the seaside and there were no other elves to stop it, it would really be possible to form a huge tsunami, which would submerge small coastal cities and cause damage to buildings at the same time. Hold head high. The bird looked extremely calm, opened its beak confidently, and let out a high-pitched bird call towards the giant blue tornado with a terrifying cyclone. Going against the wind is the ethnic code for conquering the sky. Tailwind. Bai Diao's swings and slaps swept up a powerful but gentler force of wind. Compared with the violent and crazy tornado, the power of the wind, through Bai Diao's control of the wind, intended to completely disintegrate the tornado. Bai Diao's flight speed itself is unparalleled. At this moment, it is traveling with the wind, using its soft trajectory to block the rapidly rotating cyclone of the tornado. This is the best solution for coastal cities to protect themselves from tornadoes and hurricanes. The prairie, the eternal sky. Bobo, who grew up in the blue sky of this vast prairie, held up his bright red and proud head feathers, walking against the wind. Roar. Water flow rings, cyclones, water fluctuations. Is it true that the salted fish king doesn't know Bai Diao's control over the wind? No. He knew it very well. This move created an extremely violent tornado, and even caused the entire meteor lake to form a whirlpool and a terrifying suction force, just to let the wind leave this beautiful circle of water to him, the ring of water swirling around his body. Cover. Under the cover of this tornado, the moves of the Salted Fish King confused Bai Diao and everyone under the sky. Only Lao Hu's beard raised slightly, nodded slightly, and smiled faintly at the corner of his mouth. Rings of water, cyclones, waves of water. The Salted Fish King could have used the exploding 100,000 volts at close range to win the battle between elves, but he didn't want to. Because of the water flow ring. It was the protective move that Domali used to stay with the Salted Fish King when she was about to be defeated by Bai Diao. Now, when this terrifying tornado is about to be disintegrated by the downwind move, and when Bai Diao is most likely to ignore the non-threatening water ring, the Salted Fish King, shake it out. This move was executed by the Salted Fish King on behalf of Domali. As for the final killer move, 100,000 volts. It can be used, but it's not necessary. Hold head high. In the sky, Bai Diao screamed, and the grey-white figure, like a kite with a broken string, instantly fell down Bai Diao. The bright red head feather was no longer flowing in the sky at this moment. Bai Diao, Wu Yuqin's eyelids twitched. At the moment when the tornado and the downwind move were connected, the confrontation between the wind force made it impossible to see clearly what happened. Why did Bai Diao's movements suddenly feel like he was suddenly exploded by some force? This force was definitely not wind. Could it be? An idea flashed in Wu Yuqin's mind. The moment he saw Minas, he instantly remembered the water flow ring that Minas left for the Salted Fish King after he was defeated by Bai Diao. Damn it, are you bullying our family and being single now? Chirp, chirp, chirp. The little natural bird on Wu Yuqin's head jumped nervously. Bai Diao, how is it? The falling Bai Diao finally stabilized its balance. In this duel, it knew where it lost. The Salted Fish King actually. Hold head high. Yi. Please vote, please vote.